also known as XMG on this channel. So what am I doing right now is I'm shooting a video about this mod. This is the battery replacement mod that takes this 2016 ML 2016 to a ML 2032 battery, and then it also has I guess I'll show some. Whoops. I already took the Dreamcast apart because, you know, anyone that needs to know how to take off the lid to a Dreamcast, this mod's probably not for you. But it does come with a resistor. I don't know if I need that, so it has a resistor. You know, resistors really don't go bad unless you burned it out or something. I'm not sure how many ohms that is. It has a battery holder, so that's going to be a nice touch. And then it comes with a capacitor and a resettable fuse, and then the battery itself. Yeah, if I can even get this open. And the batteries, you don't want to use a CR2032, you want to use an ML rechargeable. So ML 2032 3 volt. So if your Sega Dreamcast has it where, you know, you're constantly going in changing the clock setting, then the rechargeable battery is more likely dead in it. And you can find these on eBay for about $10. So really not much money at all. Also, I'm gonna change the one of the capacitors. I've been working on this power supply. So this capacitor right here, which is a 2200. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Probably sent me the wrong capacitors. Are you kidding me? Well, I guess I'm not going to do that because I don't know why they sent me 2200 microfarad capacitors, 16 volt. I already changed to 2200 microfarad. So yeah, this one's 3300 microfarad I want to change. So yeah, it's a good idea to change all these out because they do tend to leak. So that's kind of a bummer. I guess I'll just do the mod for the battery replacement. That's a bummer. I don't know why the seller would send me it. Oh well, I guess I got plenty of those now. But yeah, I changed the 470s on here. This one was a 470 35 volt, but I put a 470 Nichicon cap in there. And then this is a Nichicon 200 volt 100 microfarad. I changed that out. So this one was leaking, but this cap's not a new cap. It's actually from a PlayStation 1 power supply that I salvaged. I just had a power supply part for PlayStation 1, and I didn't need it, so I just took the capacitor out because it was leaking, and I put it on a tester, and it tests great. So yeah, so there we go. All right, so not to make this video too long, I guess we'll go ahead and take the power supply, or not the power supply, but the controller ports out. So you need to take off this front circuit board. Well, I didn't want to take the whole ribbon cable out, but oh well. And then let's see, and then you want to remove your fan. I do have a workbench now in my loft, but everyone's home sick, so I just don't need people saying, hey, what are you doing? Are you shooting a video? All right. Helps to have some tweezers to get these screws out. And this is a case mod that I did a long time ago. I did a video about that if you're curious, so you can watch that video. Okay, what's holding it in? Nothing. All right. So this is a battery mod I did to it a long time ago, which is a ML 2016 soldered to a battery, well, to soldered the wires directly with a piece of foam. So I'm not going to need this anymore. And it works out, but the problem is the 2016 doesn't hold a charge for very long. So, after about a couple weeks, you would have to charge your Dreamcast. If you don't play it, then it'll just reset the clock again. So yeah, and then I had to run a trace for the positive lead in here. So let's see. Yeah, because I had to do a bodge to it because now I have to remove my bodge. All right. Yeah, because these through holes got pretty burnt out. I don't think the desoldering gun's necessary. I think I did this before I had a desoldering gun. That's why the traces are all bodged up. Okay. And then our holder has three little tabs, if you will. Looks like positives on this side. Okay. And this is just a component leg because I had to bodge it. Alrighty. Alright, that's probably not going to work. A little hot. But yeah, if you don't have your temperature too high on your soldering iron, I think that's what happened last time, then you won't have to repair a trace or run a wire. And if you do have to run a wire like this, the trick is just to get one leg in. Holy moly. Getting like fumes coming straight to my face. Alright. There we go. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and clean my solder joint up. Just gonna pour some IPA on it. Just get a toothbrush on there. I just use like dollar store branding toothbrushes. And then this one I'm gonna have to run a bodge to also. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera. I'm just gonna run a bodge from here to here for the negative, and then we'll go from there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and change the capacitor on the controller board. And yeah, that's a really small capacitor. I guess it's 47 ohm, 10 volt. And this is 47 ohm, 10 volt. It's an Ichicon. I'll probably just change it because I just have it. It. Who knows if it lost capacitance, but and what I did here was if you ever have to do a repair like that, you just use a component leg, kind of something like a resistor or even a piece of a capacitor leg. I typically save these just so I can do repairs. So this is the negative side, this is the positive side. You don't want to have to repair traces unless at all, but if it's like a really small trace, like over here or something, or even smaller, one of these traces, it'd be kind of bad. Oh, it's about as flush as I can get it. Sort of. I don't want to go too flush where I'm cracking the solder joint, but yeah, this is probably just real thin copper plating underneath this board, so just be aware of that so you don't have to go through the hassle, because it's kind of, that's like a real newbie move. It's usually caused by having heat on there for too long. Oh, oops. For too much pressure. Okay. So our cap. And over here, right here's the white area printed on the circuit board is showing the negative side of our cap. So we'll go ahead and put the negative side of the lead. Well, that's positive. So also on your capacitor, the shorter leg is negative, and the longer leg is positive. So positive and then negative. Like I said, this capacitor looks kind of shoddy, but since I'm here and it's 20 years newer, 20 plus years newer, I'll go ahead and use it. It's more or less a filtering cap. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this board. Trying to find my flux pin. Seems like it doesn't want to flow too well on there. Oh, there's my flux pin. Alright, it looks like that is on there pretty good. And yeah, you could snip legs off, and then you could save them for repairs if you need it. I'm going to cut this one a little bit more flush. Okay. And then right here is our fuse. And we're gonna put a resettable fuse in there. So apparently, if you have a problem with your controller ports where the you have a loose connection on the controller port and it blows the fuse, like you plug a controller in while the Dreamcast is on, just common things like that, which is not a big deal. You should be able to plug your controller in with the console still on. Then the fuse will blow, and that's only a one-time fuse. So that's just a one-time only use. The resettable fuse, you could turn the console off for a couple minutes, and then it'll reset the fuse to where you can use it again. So yeah, I guess it's self-healing or something like that. I'm not an electronics engineer by any means. I used to solder for a living for a while. That's kind of how I got into soldering, but as you can tell, I'm not the best at it, but so we want to, and if you don't have a desolder gun, you can use a desolder pump, which is you put your soldering iron in, and then you can, while you're heating it, you can extract the solder. But I invested in one of these just because I do a lot of repairs on the stuff I own, and a desoldering gun for a cheap one's like $130, $150. If you want a name brand one, you're gonna be paying more than that. All right, so we're gonna put a resettable fuse in, and then you kind of just want to go until where the bend is in the legs. You kind of want it hovering. I like to spread the legs, and well, that's what she said, but I like to do that. Just to kind of hold the part in. And I'll go ahead and put some more flux on there. Yeah, these vias are not that great on these boards, so keep that in mind. And I'm using a blade tip on my iron. I do have conical tips, but yeah, you probably don't want to put too much heat into something this small. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I'll go ahead and clip that off. All right, so we got our battery holder, so it can take a rechargeable 2032. We got a resettable fuse. We have our 47 microfarad 10 volt cap replaced. This is the resistor that they gave me. I really don't see any point. It looks like it's the right resistor, but I don't know. You know what the whole point of it is, if it's just to charge the battery faster, possibly, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an electronics engineer, and I don't really see any point in changing it out. I'm kind of debating it though, because yeah, it is smaller, or it could just be a different watt. Looks like it has the same color band, so it's probably the same type of resistor. So I'll just leave that out. If you want to change your resistor, that's up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this, and then basically you want to put your ribbon cable back on, and your fan as well. So I'll go ahead and reinstall this. I'll just cut the video here. All right, I'm back. So I just had to clean up this board a little bit off camera, because I used 50% isopropyl alcohol, and it was all over my mat still, so I wanted to clean that up real quick. But I did find a 330 microfarad cap in that package, so I guess the seller was sending me all the ones he had off of eBay. So what we're gonna do is just reinstall this. Back into our Dreamcast. Okay, so there's some standoffs right here. And I guess we'll be all right as long as it's not shorting out to the bottom of the case. So I'm going to put a couple screws in. Now what I like to do is work backwards a little bit until you can feel it drop down and then screw in. That way you're not making new threads into the plastic. All right. Yeah, if you're interested in a green Dreamcast case, or purple or red, I got it off of GameTech USA's website. He's another modder, so he does mostly Nintendo stuff, but he does a little bit of Sega stuff, and not as much as I do, but some of the stuff he does has to do with the casing and yeah, like casing and power supplies and stuff like that. Mostly Dreamcast stuff. He does LED changes on Sega Genesis and Sega CD. All right, so we do have our board back in. Now these are, this ribbon cable is a ZIF, or not, it's not, I don't think it's a ZIF, but the kind you have to push in and you want to get it straight and then start pushing in. You don't want to start it crooked or put a lot of force into it. They're pretty durable though, but you know, I wanted to push your luck on it. Now we're gonna go ahead and take the Dreamcast power supply out so we can replace that capacitor with the newer one. Because yeah, as I was pulling the capacitors out, they were leaking pretty bad. I don't know if it was just glue to hold the bottom of the, like on the bottom of the capacitor was leaking right there on this one and this one. The other ones I didn't even have to really change. I did test them and some of them are out of spec. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull this on out of here. Now, if your Dreamcast with this, if your Dreamcast is slow booting up or resets, it could be these pins right here. You might have to bend them a little bit backwards, not much force, to make a good connection with the through-hole, kind of like Molex type connection right here. So that's just another point if you have that problem or still have that problem. I'm just gonna put that on the floor. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take out this cap, which should be those two. Alright, so we got that pulled out. I can see it's re-solder right there. Alright. Could be my guns getting clogged up. Alright, so I got that pulled out. I cleaned some of the residue because I did put it back in because I wanted to use my Dreamcast. So yeah, 10 volt, 333 or 3033, or I can't even say it, 3,300 microfarad, 10 volts. So 10 volt, 300 or 3,300 microfarad. I can't even talk. I'm not even sure what brand this one is. This one's a Nichicon. It's kind of why I bought it from the seller I did. If you do go through console 5, you can get a bag of all the capacitors for like $10. So honestly, I should have went that route, but I'm not sure what revision of power supply this is. I think it's a 0 or V01. So not all Dreamcasts have the same power supply. So right here, you'll have a little black dot designating the negative side. So the white stripe's negative on here, and the longer leg's positive. So shorter leg's negative, longer leg's positive. So we're gonna put it in like this. Oh, that's seems like it's shorter, probably is. And then put it down, spread your legs on this. And we'll go ahead and solder this one in. Oh. Oh, my iron was off. Sorry, guys. So I'll solder it in and cut the legs off, and then basically when you put it back in the Dreamcast, you want to make sure you run your power lead under this white plastic, this isolation plastic, and then have it pop out right there. So you want to run it under, and then that will plug back in to the white connector on the board, and then reinsert it. So not too hard. If you can do this, you can do that. These are, 20-year-old power supplies, so it's a good idea to do a cap replacement, because you can't just go and buy a new power supply. But yeah, I mean, you can actually. They do have a like a 3D printed version that has a barrel connector, and you use a wall wart power supply, and then it fits on this connector. I don't recommend those if you're planning on keeping your CD drive. It will power a CD drive, but it's not strongly recommended. So, let's see, maybe my iron's hot enough I could solder this real quick. It's getting there. And you just want to be careful when you're soldering not to touch any other part. For home use, I this is a Weller 100. It's a Weller, yeah, WLC 100. It's about a $60 soldering station. I think nowadays they charge probably $100 for it. Is what I've been seeing it for. But that's what I would recommend if you're just doing home hobby projects. If you're doing a bunch of these, definitely get like, a $500 solder station. But for home use, this is what I would recommend. All right, so we're gonna cut the legs off. Okay, so we want to check our polarity. Okay, I cut that a little bit shorter. All right, positive, negative. Okay. Just in case if I was drunk while doing it. All right, so that's how you do it. I'll go ahead and reinstall. All right, I'm back. All right, so I just had to clean up the board a little bit and then see what the dogs were yapping about. So yeah, so we got our shield right here. We're gonna put our power supply back right there, and then we're gonna put it down over the post. See, I kind of did that rough, but you get the point. So and you want to make sure it's clipped in. Right here's a piece of plastic that's just a clip. So you want that clipped right there. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and test it out. Yeah, I kind of did put that cap in a little crooked, but I think it'll be fine. So Nichicon, Ichicon, and I think this is 1,000 microfarad 10-volt cap I had laying around. That's a lot newer. That's in the Dreamcast. And then all we're gonna have to do is put our lid back on at this point. So yeah, you just do that and then put the screws in the bottom and give it a test. But yeah, you want to make sure you put your screws back right here. So I'll go ahead and do that as well. Okay, there they are. It's like, where did I put those two screws? It's got a screw here and a screw here. I'm so bad at putting screws in. But yeah, I'll go ahead and reassemble this instead of having you guys watch me put screws in. All right, here we are at the TV, and we're gonna go ahead and power it on, give it a test. All right, so far it's booting up. All right, so it's gonna come to this, it's gonna ask for your date and time. And then once you put that in, you probably want to give your console at least an hour to charge. Remember, when you do assemble it, if you buy this kit off of eBay, you could probably find a kit that just has a battery holder and the rechargeable battery. But make sure you put the battery in before you close your console up and put all the screws back in. And then once you let it charge for an hour, then you probably want to turn it off and then unplug your console for a few minutes and then plug it back in, turn it back on. And if it doesn't ask you for the date and time, then everything was a success. And if you want capacitor replacements for your power supply, I definitely would go to console5.com and buy those. If you like videos like this, check my playlist. Also, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to be notified when I do put out new videos, go ahead and click on that bell and you'll get the notifications right to your phone. This is Ken with Xmods Gaming. Until next time.